watching Numbskull News, and today we're going to talk about Miami getting to the Big Ten. Apparently, the big presidents of the big schools in the Big Ten, they want Miami. That seems to be their priority. They're giving the thumbs up. Why is that? Why is that? Well, I keep hearing these excuses on, why wouldn't the Big Ten go after North Carolina? Why wouldn't they go after Virginia first, right? Those are the most valuable. Apparently not. Folks, the Big Ten want to get into Florida. First choice, it's Florida State. The next available choice in Florida is Miami. And would they double dip? Would they take Florida State and Miami? I don't know about that. Maybe they would. I can't say definitely no. But what I believe is there's not going to be a crap ton of expansion by the Big Two. I believe the Big Ten wants to get to 20 and stay there. Team number 19, they would like it to be Florida State. If Florida State goes to the SEC, it is not a choice. They will take Miami. Who's number 20? Number 20 is Notre Dame. They will wait. Because I believe that they believe if they have patience, they can wait out Notre Dame. Notre Dame just re-upped their deal with NBC. That's fine. That Notre Dame will get tired of never getting one of the top spots in the CFP. They won't be shut out, but it'll be a lot tougher to get a better seed. To get a home game in the first round, things like that is going to be really difficult for Notre Dame not being in a conference. I believe the Big Ten feel that way. And that eventually Notre Dame will feel like they're backed into a corner and will have to make the jump. And if they're going to join a conference, it's going to be the Big Ten. It's not going to be the SEC. It's not going to be the Big 12. It's going to be the Big Ten. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to sit back and they're going to wait. Because Notre Dame is the biggest of the big fish. Period. They're bigger than anything that could be gotten out of realignment. And apparently it's written into the Big Ten contract. Everybody's money goes up if Notre Dame joins. So they're going to hold a spot for them. But this fantasy land where the Big Ten are going to go to 22 teams, they're going to go 24, they're going to go 26 or 30. No, they're not. Let me tell you something. If the Big 12 isn't going to add teams that they feel may be dilutive, do you think the Big Ten's going to do that? No. If they were, they would have added Stanford and Cal. Two of the highest academic brands to be made available. If not the number one and number two academic brands to be made available. In a huge freaking market. So what does that tell you? It's not really about the academics. It's not really about the markets. It's not. So where Miami goes, it's going to be dependent on what does Florida State do. Because I don't, it could happen. I just seriously doubt it. I think the Big Ten want to get to 20. One of those teams being Notre Dame, they're going to hold a spot for them. So they're looking for one Florida school. That's what I believe. So it's going to depend on what does Florida State do. Do they go to the SEC or they go to the Big Ten? Because they're going to have a choice of either one. They'll have a choice. Don't give me this bullshit of the SEC. They're going to go and double dip in North Carolina with UNC and NC State. And then they're going to go and double dip in Virginia with the University of Virginia and then Virginia Tech. So what you're telling me, in order to get two dilutive schools from North Carolina and Virginia, they must take two other dilutive schools just so they can have the right, because those schools are tied together. So just to have the right to get the dilutive schools that they want. People, that makes no sense. And I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Before I move on, let me regurgitate this again. I know what you're saying. But you want to get into the new state. It's all about the demographics. It's all about the demographics. It isn't. Greg Flugar told me markets still matter. And they do. They just don't matter as much as they used to. The future is streaming. The future is streaming. Please do your own research. All right? I'm not the smartest guy in the room, and nobody on YouTube, nobody in the media is. Period. End of story. No one's the smartest guy in the room. What I do know about streaming is you are not going to get carriage fucking fees with streaming. So much for the Big Ten network. So much for the SEC network. They will be put on a streamer. That's going to happen sooner rather than later. The cable bundle, satellite bundle, the linear product is going down. It's propped up by live sports, and live sports is waning. This is why Mark Cuban sold the Dallas Mavericks, people. He does not trust the future of media rights, the money from it. That's the NBA. That's the effing NBA. Who, by the way, their total viewership is down 70% since 1998. This is why he's getting out. He's keeping a small part of the team. He'll be able to stay in charge of basketball operations so he can have his fun. But he cashed out most of it. Why? Because he does not. He doesn't believe in the future of the media rights deals. It is unknown and undiscovered country. We're going to find out how it's going to work. He doesn't completely trust that. Therefore, he's out. He doesn't want to lose his ass. So you can tell me that the SEC is going to move into territories and basically do business like you've done the last 30 years when it comes to realignment. This is not your daddy's realignment. This is the new world, the streaming world. There's no place for a Big Ten and SEC network, at least not how you've known them. There's no carriage fees associated once you go to a streamer. It's a worldwide platform. They're not going to pay you because of a subscriber in North Carolina. They don't care if they're in North Carolina. They don't care if they're in Zimbabwe. They don't care if they're in Tasmania. They're going to pay their $9.99, their $15.99, their $20.99, whatever it costs for whatever streaming platform. That's what the streamer is going to get paid. And with Netflix coming in, this shit is going to jump off. The streaming world is coming, and it's coming fast. Netflix is a monster. That's 250 million subscribers. Do the math. 250 million subscribers. If it's $10 million, or sorry, if it's $10 a subscription, how much is that? That's $2.5 billion a month. That's on the base $10 level. They're going to go to an ad. They're going to have an ad tier. They're going to have multiple tiers. I mean, this is an amazing amount of money. Okay. This is a monster. This is the biggest streamer. And they realize the power of live sports. And they're going to get in. They're jumping in with the WWE. And they're going to keep pushing forward. In the future, you're going to see Paramount Plus get into the live sports. You're going to see Peacock further get into live sports. You're going to see ESPN going straight to consumer. ESPN Plus will be a monster. This shit is going to streaming, which means your market, your demographics don't matter. What does matter? I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but what matters the most to a streamer? Eyeballs, subscriptions, What are you bringing? How many fans do you got? It's what I said it's about and what I've been saying it's about for months now. Premium matchups. Florida State offers premium matchups in either one of the two big conferences. So does Clemson. Big time eyeballs. UNC does not offer that. UNC football does not. Virginia does not offer that. NC State does not offer that. Virginia Tech doesn't offer that. Therefore, they're not going to the damn SEC. It's not happening. I'm sorry. I understand. If this was still the traditional linear cable bundle shit that's going to continue for decades, I would acquiesce to that. I'm like, well, you know what? There's a lot of value and a lot of money to be made off of carriage fees with the conference networks. I got to give it up. But that's not the future model for the next few decades. It's streaming. The streaming world ain't the same world. The money and the values are different than the traditional cable and satellite bundles. They just are. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research on it. All right? You can comment some bullshit down there if you want to. Oh, that's not the way. I've done my research. I have. I've seen enough. Does that mean I'm absolutely right? Does that mean I can't be wrong? Of course not. Of course not. But I am offering a counter narrative here based off of factual information that's out there in the marketplace. You just got to be willing to look at it, find it, ingest it, and see if it sits well with your stomach. Or are you going to shit it out? Well, I got a pretty iron stomach. And from what I see, the streamers are going to be huge in the future. And the future is coming quickly. We are entering, actually, the future. So Florida State has a decision to make. Big Ten or SEC? I think they're going to choose the SEC. Think about it. There's 7 schools within a bus ride when you're talking about road games? You got Florida, you got Alabama, you got Auburn, you got Kentucky, you got 2 Mississippi schools and LSU, all within an easy and cheap bus ride as far as an away game. That's outstanding. Or do you want to charter a flight to every damn away game you can have? From New York to Seattle, Washington, to LA, to Chicago. It's fine to do a trip like that once in a while. But when you got multiple trips every single year and every road game is a haul and it's going to cost you a shit ton of money, it makes nothing but sense for Florida State to choose the SEC. Makes nothing but sense for Clemson to choose the SEC. And Clemson is going to be wanted by the SEC. Oh, they don't want to double dip. Bitch, they've already been double dipping. They double dipped in Texas. Why didn't they just tell the University of Texas, hey, bud, sorry, we're already in the state of Texas. We got the Aggies. We don't need the Longhorns. Did they do that? No. Why? Premium matchups with a monster brand. What do you think Florida State offers? Premium matchups with a fucking monster brand. Clemson offers the same thing. Slightly less viewership than Florida State. By far, the 2 biggest brands, most viewed brands, has the most viewership every single solitary year is Florida State and Clemson. Stop with the dreams and the BS of North Carolina State, Virginia Tech. Really good brands on their own. I'm not trying to shit on these guys. I'm not trying to shit on UNC or Virginia. All of them have tremendous value. They don't have Florida State value, people. They don't have Clemson value. They don't have Miami value. This is why the Big Ten wants Miami. Huge freaking value, a huge and loyal fan base they have built for decades. It's national. The biggest 30 for 30s on ESPN, the documentaries, the biggest, most viewed, most popular ones are freaking the Miami Hurricanes docs they've done. Just for an example of what their power and influence is in Miami. That is a coast-to-coast fan base. I don't care that Miami is the 18th overall market. That's why no one realistically is talking about Georgia Tech, who's in Atlanta, it's a bigger market than Miami. But it's Georgia Tech. That's not really a brand. There's not a lot of room for growth for Georgia Tech in the Big Ten or the SEC. With Miami, they're already established. They're already legendary. They're already a blue blood. Stop with the bullshit. Oh, but their ratings can be up and down. Well, that's any team. When your team's down, your ratings go down. When your team is up, the ratings go up. That's how it is for TCU. That's how it is for the Longhorns in Alabama. That's how it is for anybody. Look at their overall viewership of the lifetime of that program. When they're chasing down national titles or having a great season, 9-3, 10-2, 11-1, 12-0, whatever it is, the ratings go way up. Except if you're UNC. Because you have a good year. The ratings don't really go up that much. This is why a streamer wouldn't want them. I mean, give me the team that can hold big ratings regardless. That means they got a loyal fan base that'll be willing to pay a little bit of money for a streamer to watch their team. University of North Carolina Tar Heels football program does not have that. They just don't have it. They're a mid-tier team. They get mid-tier ratings. A hell of a lot of Big 12 schools beat them in ratings every year. Every year. TCU smashes UNC in the ratings. Smashes them. Every year. How is that? TCU, I recognize TCU is not the brand of UNC, but their football team gets a hell of a lot better ratings. Why is that? No one's asking about that. Why is that? Maybe because everyone is moving into North Carolina because the demographics are so great. They don't watch North Carolina sports. They're still watching the Big Ten. Or they're watching the SEC. They ain't watching you. It's ridiculous. And all these people that have been talking this shit, all of them have been downplaying Miami all to hell. Well, now's your day. Greg Flugar broke this shit on his channel. PATC. I got to shout him out. But from his sources, the big dogs in the Big Ten want Miami. They want Miami. Fox wants Miami. Now he'll tell you, oh, UNC, but if they're not available, why aren't they available? If they're really the most wanted and they know it, why aren't they available? Why aren't they first in line? Not Florida State. Why is it UNC first in line, throwing out the lawsuit, getting the hell out of there and getting the big money? It's because they're not first in line. They don't know that. And I know, North Carolina, the Board of Governors kind of tied the two teams together. Are they really tied together? Or if one team leaves for higher ground and they got to throw money at the other one? I don't know. No one knows that. Exactly how that knot is really tied. Or is it actually a slip knot? Don't know. But the end all be all of everything. What do I believe is going to happen? I believe Florida State gets out of the ACC. When they do, they'll choose to go to the SEC, and the SEC will absolutely take them. Right behind them will be Clemson, and the SEC will take them too. Why do they want 2 teams in South Carolina? Because that's what the SEC apparently likes to do. They want to keep their area intact. You want to call it defensive moves? Go ahead. Don't care. But those are 2 big brands with 2 huge fan bases. They can sell that shit to a streamer for higher dollars than they could with UNC or Virginia. So that's what they'll choose to do. And then they'll shut it the hell down. 18 teams is just fine with them. They don't give a damn. The Big Ten. If Florida State ain't available, they can't get them, then they'll go after Miami. They want in Florida. Once they get Miami, they'll shut it down until Notre Dame comes available. Until they can talk them into coming. Because that seat, that 20th seat, that's Miami's seat. They're not going to fill it with North Carolina. They're not going to fill it with Virginia. They're not going to fill it with Georgia Tech or anybody else. That seat is theirs and theirs alone. Well, they'll just be stuck at 19. Then they'll be stuck at fucking 19. They don't care. They don't care. They're not going past 20. I don't believe it. But after that happens and the smoke clears, ESPN will then announce 2027, we're done. We're out of the ACC business. They'll talk to Brett Yormark. Hey, here's a list of schools we would like you to take if you're interested. Let's talk business here. As far as we're concerned, we'll give you the pro rata for them. Because they don't want SMU. They don't want to have to pay for SMU. They don't want to pay for Cal or Stanford. Chances are they don't want to pay for Wake Forest. They don't want to pay for Boston College. They don't want to pay for Syracuse. But there is a lot of value still in the ACC after those 3 big schools leave to the big conferences. ESPN can save money by having them go to the Big 12 and sharing that cost with Fox. And Fox would like to do it because that's more content that they need and they can get on the cheap, especially the basketball side of things. And that's where the rubber meets the road, people. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that was big news. That was big news by Mr. Flugar. Big Ten wants Miami. And I say, hell yeah, they do. They want Florida. And they'll take Miami. That's what it should tell everybody. So no more of this Miami to the Big 12 shit. Chances are, ain't happening. Anyway. Thanks for watching this crap, and I'll be back with some other crap later. Bye.